All right, tonight let's head to the sacred Mount Kurama, because it's here, in a single moonlit duel, that one of Japan's greatest heroes is about to be forged. Now, this isn't just a story about sword fighting. No way. This is about a supernatural trial designed to turn a young boy into an absolute living legend. Let's dive right in. Think about that line for a second. His education in the supernatural arts of the mountain would begin. This is the exact moment everything changes. With that one statement, the Tengu master Sojobo is basically saying, okay, kid, everything you thought you knew about fighting, we're leaving that behind. We're going somewhere else entirely. So let's set the scene. We're deep in the Sojogadani Valley on Mount Kurama, a place that feels ancient, shrouded by these massive cedar trees. The air itself is thick, You can smell the pine, but you can also feel this electric charge of a storm rolling in, which perfectly mirrors the tension between our two figures here. And talk about an unfair fight, right? On one side, you've got Ushiwaka. He's just a boy, an orphan, he's exhausted, and all he's got is a wooden training sword. On the other side, Sojobo, the king of the Tengu, this powerful supernatural being wielding actual divine artifacts. The odds are just impossibly stacked against our hero. But here's the thing. This isn't your typical duel. It's not really a fight to the death. It begins as a series of lessons, and each lesson is taught using one of Sojobo's sacred artifacts. The goal isn't to beat the boy, it's to completely reform him from the ground up. First up is the Hauchiwa, the feathered fan. Now, this is no ordinary fan you use to cool off. This thing is an artifact of immense power. It can literally manipulate the atmosphere, summon gale force winds, and turn the environment itself into a weapon. And a teacher. And Sojobo puts it to use immediately. With just a flick, he whips the fallen leaves into this blinding, razor-sharp spiral. The boy's getting knocked around by forces he can't even see, completely losing his footing. The lesson is brutally simple. You can't fight an opponent if you can't even stand your ground. Ushiwakamaru is forced to find his balance, to connect with his surroundings, to literally learn how to breathe with the mountain. So the second the boy finally finds his footing, the next lesson begins. No rest. Sojobo now comes at him with the Kongozue, this iron-hard staff that represents indestructible wisdom. And as you're about to see, it delivers a punch that's both physical and spiritual. Sojobo just slams the staff into the earth, and the sound alone vibrates right through the boy's bones, basically paralyzing him. And every single time Ushiwakamaru manages to get his wooden sword up to parry, a shockwave of spiritual energy just surges through him. So he's not just learning to block a staff, he's being taught how to withstand a force that is fundamentally beyond the physical world. Okay, so he's been tested against the forces of nature and raw spiritual power. Now, the trial shifts entirely. Sojobo is about to attack his very perception of reality itself. This is where things get really weird. Seriously, put yourself in his shoes for a second. All you have are your senses to guide you. But what happens when they start lying to you? What do you do when you can't trust your own eyes or ears to find the enemy? This is where the token hat and the Nenju prayer beads come into play. With a simple tap of his hat, Sojobo just vanishes. Poof, gone. Then his voice starts echoing from every direction at once, and the beads rattle like the teeth of a dragon to make it sound like 100 invisible warriors are closing in. The battlefield is now inside the boy's own head. And this is the whole point of the lesson. Sojobo appears and reappears, striking from blind spots over and over, hammering home a fundamental truth. Your eyes can and will be deceived. Your spirit, your intuition, that's what has to stay vigilant. All right, this is it. Everything comes together now. All the lessons, all the brutal trials, they're all about to culminate in one final, terrifying test that's designed to push the boy right to the absolute brink. Sojobo unleashes everything at once in this terrifying display of power. The Hauchiwa fan pins the boy to a tree with just pure atmospheric pressure. He's paralyzed, totally helpless, as the glowing tip of that Kongozu staff moves right to his throat. There is literally no physical way out. And this is the turning point. This is absolutely brilliant. Trapped, facing what looks like certain death, he doesn't struggle, he doesn't panic. He accepts his vulnerability, closes his eyes, and does exactly what he was taught. He stops relying on his failing senses and instead feels the flow of his master's energy. And just like that, it's over. The wind dies down, the staff is pulled back, and Sojo-Bo lets out this booming, resonant laugh that just shakes the whole forest. The boy passed the test, not by fighting back, but by transcending his fear and showing he truly understood. You see, that single night, that was the crucible. That was the moment the high priest of the mountain took this vengeful orphan and completely forged him into a master tactician, someone who was now ready to change the entire course of Japanese history. Think about that incredible journey. He walked into that clearing as Ushiwakamaru, just an orphan looking for revenge. He walked out of it as a supernatural strategist, the man who would become known to all of history as Minamoto no Yoshitsune, the hero of the Genpei War. And these weren't just some philosophical lessons, These were practical, almost supernatural skills that were forged in that duel. He learned to embody the very forces that were used against him, to move like the wind, to see through deception, and to act without that crippling weight of human fear. And this is why it all matters so much. This isn't just a cool myth. The training on Mount Kurama directly translates to his real-world historical achievements. All those legendary feats he pulled off in the Genpei War, the victories that seemed completely impossible, they all stemmed from the lessons he learned in this one single supernatural night. So it kind of leaves us with this question, doesn't it? Is a master's greatest test something that's meant to be won? Or is its true purpose to completely break the student down, only to rebuild them into something far greater than they ever could have imagined?